Idoric mayhem for a really good sci-fi, where sight was considered as exotic and numinous as telepathy by the Protac species.
Everybody else uses sonar, or long whiskers, and that thing with the sensing electrical impulses. Meanwhile, humans can see, which is a thing which is like, and yet unlike, ordinary perception. It also only ever comes into play in the same frivolous Vulcan strength sort of way as Spock's extra attributes. For maximum effect, Vision will be faithfully written as 100% an asshole in the best way. What the fuck, dude? This is awesome. I want this too now.
Okay, but what about those deep-sea fish that produce light at a wavelength that only they can see? Predators that can somehow sense you in a completely undetectable and unfathomable manner to you. They might as well be psychic.
Yes, exactly. Vision is such an asshole. Sometimes it's dark and we can't see anything. And also, we're impaired for plot reasons. Sometimes alien weaponry or otherwise innocuous ship components are quote-unquote too bright and we yell and try to hide, subject to some sort of obscure, tortuous imperative. The rest of the time, we can unerringly tell when anyone is trying to play pranks on us, and the names and emotional physical status of every single being in the room, or when outside civilized warrens, the line of sight. And yes, of course, we can't forget about our nigh mythical fighting arts revolving around insane dodging skills. And sniping. And also, god fuck, don't forget about completely arbitrary atmospheric disturbances. Fog, smoke, the new ionic interference, also platastically rendering our abilities moot.
Plus, some people have more powerful vision than others, but some people have a very short effective range of vision. However, humans have come up with the devices that can change the angles of refraction of the light, so that the naturally impaired have their skills enhanced, but they can always be knocked off their faces or be broken. Also, some people are terrible at normal vision work, but have excellent night vision, and are skilled at working under adverse conditions. Oh, and human art is almost entirely vision-based. Think about non-seeing aliens trying to access the majority of human art.
I'm screaming! Glasses! Glasses are such another great, weird alien gimmick. God. You get used to all your human friends and their bizarre abilities, and you just start to really trust in and rely on them in tight spaces and problem solving a little bit. But then you get fucking marooned on a planetoid somewhere, and they just, in this very small little voice, after you have pulled them from the wreckage and sat down to go over your options, inform you that they've lost their glasses.
Oh my god. And in an episode where we're up against evil humans, and our heroes turn to their humans like, you can see them, right? You can tell when they're near? You can counter them? And our hero is genuinely shaken and worried. They've got high-tech military mechanical enhancers. The devices strapped to their heads let them see anywhere. They can operate in near absolute darkness. They can operate in near lethal brightness. They can see through walls. Not doors, not glass, but walls. Then we have a heroic scene where the crew's human is the scrappy, desperate underdog for once, instead of the cool and collected super being. It is super cool. The human and the captain probably mac widely on one another in the medbay after this. Roll credits. I don't know, dude. This light stuff sounds like a bunch of mumbo-jumbo to me. I mean, how do we know it's even real?
Seriously, how can something be a wave and a particle? That doesn't even make sense.
Even if you cannot perceive the light, you can feel its warmth. Oh my god, please shut it with the mystical hoo-ha. You're insufferable. The light enters the sensitive paired apertures in our faces, passing through biological lenses and chambers to stimulate specific nerves we call rods and cones. One set of nerves tell us the volume of light we're perceiving, while the other estimates the wavelength frequency. The total input creates in our mind a continuous sonarscape of immense complexity, where we can perceive textures that are impossible to understand with mere sound or touch. This is why my people's communication devices are small, flat, silent boards. We read the patterns of light they emit as language, and watch the patterns of light they emit as sonarscapes.
Okay, sounds fake, but hey.
And they just keep on making new bullshit rules for how light works, like warp drive engaged. We're approaching 90% the Lorentz limit.
What now?
Oh, it's really complex, but let me try. So, matter can only move so fast through space, right? Like, absolutely nothing could ever possibly go faster than, like, about 300 million meters per second.
Ah, yes. The speed of light.
Oh, for fuck's sake. My god, time has frozen.
Fuck.
What?
Remember how light is a wave and a particle?
Yes, we mention this every episode.
Yeah, light's frozen along with everything else. I can't see shit.
My god, our sonar doesn't work either. The sound waves, they can't propagate through this frozen air. We'll just have to use our whiskers.
Fuck.
The fanfiction of the show has to be amazing. Shh. Don't try to hide your needs, Captain. Human soothed. My sight has told me all about your traumatic memories of the war. What? Captain gasped. But how? The light knows all, explained Hugh. Time slows down at the speed of light. It sees all of the past, and all of the future. And what is it telling you now? Questioned the captain. Hugh leaned in close. It tells me, mate with him now, you love-struck fool. Damn you, Hugh man. Damn you, and your penetrating eyes. Oh, breathed Hugh, voice husky and sexual. That's not all my eyes can penetrate. God damn, you people amaze me.
I love the idea that the protag species has telepathy as a boring, normal, standard sense, and they can't understand why human thoughts seem so strange, fragmented, occasionally blank, until they realize that a grade of human thought is visual, and so can't be heard.
Lori, what do your human eyes see?
Couple of billboards, and looks like it might rain.
This keeps getting better.
This is so cute. Your human crew member is getting a crush on another human. Time to observe the human's weird yet endearing courtship rituals.
Tell me all about them. What do you like about them?
Well, they have these amazing eyes.
Yeah? Better at the wave mapping thing than yours?
I don't know how good their eyes are at seeing. They're just this beautiful shade of brown.
Wait, you wave map each other's wave mapping organs? And have opinions about what nice frequencies they refract the waves at?
Yes, what's so strange about this?
I thought your vision was passive. Do you listen to each other's ears too? And like the smell of each other's noses?
Like you've never touched someone's whiskers with yours.
That's different. Hang on though. How do you explain photovoltaics if they don't know what photons are?
That's a point. Any spacefaring aliens would reasonably have to have a good knowledge of electromagnetism and electromagnetic radiation. And, potentially, wave-particle duality and other quantum physics. They might even have their own ways of detecting and measuring it, photodiodes, CCDs, radio telescopes, whatever, despite not being able to perceive it themselves, just as we developed ways of measuring things we can't detect, like ultrasonics, heat, or infrared, radio wavelengths, etc. So our vision might not necessarily be so mystical as telepathy to us, but more like how some species of fish are sensitive to EM fields as well as sonar mentioned above. But our eyes and brain can do a lot of processing still and have an advantage over other ways creatures might perceive their environment. Pertinently to space travel, sight works in a vacuum and theoretically infinite distance. Instead of having a sophisticated EM sensor array, fleets could simply install a human and a window.
There's potentially quite an interesting plot there, where our non-human protagonists are entirely familiar with electromagnetism in the abstract, in the same way that humans are familiar with magnetism despite not having much direct sensitivity to it. But it takes them a while to work out that's how we do that weird seeing thing we keep talking about. And even longer to get the hang of what frequency or range we used to do it. And they might still be baffled by optic lenses.
But think about the discovery of humans. You have this spacefaring race kicking around, doing their thing, discovering new worlds and civilizations. They have all this advanced technology to hide themselves from all known senses, so they can enter into the lower atmosphere of a planet and observe for a bit, cloaked from being noticed until they've decided whether or not the new race is ready to be introduced to the galactic society. And they show up at this blue world way out on the edges of civilized space and detect life and drop into the atmosphere fully cloaked and ready to research. And suddenly a scientist sends out a distress message to the rest of the crew. Millions of Earthlings have immediately begun observing them.
I still love this thread. And I want to further suggest, what if all those UFOs everyone's been seeing all this time are just merrily zipping around under the assumption that we can't fucking perceive them at all because their saucer-shaped cloaking field hides them from just about every kind of sonar or radar or EMP device? And sure, maybe if some of us humans had a really complicated photon measuring machine and pointed it at just the right spot, we might be able to get a reading that light is behaving a little bit strangely, very briefly, in one tiny part of the sky where most light comes from. But those things are the size of a suitcase, so obviously we don't have them. Except, also, those things are the size of grapes, and we have two of them built into our skulls.